What if one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history was not just an accident, but a catastrophe waiting to happen? The RMS Titanic, the largest ocean liner in service at the time, was on its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City. With over 2,200 people on board, it was a symbol of luxury and engineering prowess. But on the night of April 14, 1912, disaster struck. The ship received 7 warnings of sea ice, but was traveling at a speed of roughly 22 knots, despite the risks. What led to this reckless decision, and how did it ultimately seal the fate of the Titanic? The Titanic's lookouts, Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee, were stationed in the crow's nest, 29 meters above the deck. They were tasked with spotting any obstacles in the ship's path, including icebergs. But despite their vigilance, they were hindered by a lack of binoculars and the exceptionally calm waters, which made it difficult to spot the ice. What were the conditions like that night, and how did they contribute to the tragedy? At 23:40, Fleet spotted an iceberg in the Titanic's path. He rang the lookout bell 3 times and telephoned the bridge to inform 6th Officer James Moody. But despite the warning, the ship was unable to turn quickly enough, and a collision was inevitable. What happened in the moments leading up to the collision, and how did the crew respond to the emergency? The Titanic's high speed in waters where ice had been reported was later criticized as reckless. But it reflected standard maritime practice at the time, which prioritized timekeeping above all other considerations. The ship was designed to stay afloat with up to 4 of its forward compartments flooded, but the damage from the collision was too extensive. What were the consequences of this design flaw, and how did it contribute to the disaster? As the ship began to sink, the crew sent out distress signals, including rockets and wireless messages. But the nearest ship, the SS Californian, was only a few miles away, and yet it failed to respond to the Titanic's pleas for help. What was the role of the Californian in the disaster, and why did it not come to the Titanic's aid? The Titanic's lifeboat system was not designed to hold everyone on board simultaneously. In fact, the ship had only 20 lifeboats, including 4 collapsible lifeboats, which were not enough to accommodate the over 2,200 people on board. What were the consequences of this design flaw, and how did it affect the survivors? As the ship sank, the passengers and crew were left to fend for themselves. Many were forced to jump into the freezing waters, where they succumbed to hypothermia and drowning. The survivors were left to pick up the pieces, and to wonder how such a tragedy could have occurred. What were the human costs of the disaster, and how did it affect the survivors? The RMS Carpathia arrived on the scene several hours after the Titanic sank and rescued the survivors from the lifeboats. The crew and passengers of the Carpathia were shocked by the scale of the disaster and did their best to provide comfort and aid to the survivors. What was the role of the Carpathia in the aftermath of the disaster, and how did it contribute to the rescue efforts? The sinking of the Titanic sent shockwaves around the world and led to a major overhaul of maritime safety regulations. The International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, SELAS, was established in 1914 and has since become a cornerstone of maritime safety. What were the lessons learned from the Titanic disaster, and how have they shaped the maritime industry? The Titanic's legacy extends far beyond the maritime industry. It has become a cultural touchstone, symbolizing the hubris and tragedy of human ambition. The story of the Titanic has been retold and reinterpreted in countless ways, from films and books to music and art. What is the enduring appeal of the Titanic story, and why does it continue to fascinate us? Today, the wreck of the Titanic lies on the ocean floor, a testament to the tragedy that occurred over a century ago. The site has been the subject of numerous expeditions and documentaries, and continues to fascinate people around the world. What can we learn from the Titanic story, and how can we apply those lessons to our own lives? The Titanic story is a complex and multifaceted one, full of human drama and tragedy. It is a reminder of the power of nature and the importance of humility and caution in the face of uncertainty. As we reflect on the Titanic's legacy, we are reminded of the importance of learning from the past and of honoring the memories of those who lost their lives in the disaster. What will you take away from the Titanic story? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more documentaries like this one.